Welcome everybody to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. As you know, 1 Million by 1 Million is a global initiative aimed to help 1 million entrepreneurs around the world to reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, thereby creating $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. So it's a very ambitious agenda, and the only way we are going to be successful is if you are successful, because our role is that of a facilitator, that of a educator, incubator perhaps, but you are the ones who are going to get to your $1 million revenue numbers, and we look forward to helping you get there. The roundtable is being recorded and will be available for you to listen to afterwards, as well as to forward to people if you want to share it with other people, or if you want to refer to the conversations we've had and make notes and so forth. So now, before we begin the show today, I want to tell you about next week's roundtable. We are going to be hosting our 100th roundtable next week, and believe me, it has taken a lot of persistence and a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes to make 100 roundtables like this possible. And it's been going on for over 3 years now. And Maureen, Bharati, and a whole team of other people, including a number of 1 Million by 1 Million ambassadors, Irina, Ravi, Ken, a whole lot of people have been extremely active in making this work possible. Ruchika, Praveen, all sorts of people who have been contributing to this initiative from different parts of the world. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for bringing us this far. So next week, what we're going to do is follow a slightly different format than our normal format. Today, you're going to see our normal format where entrepreneurs actually dialogue with me about their business strategy. But next week, we're going to have a group of premium members of the 1 Million by 1 Million program tell you about their companies, their journeys, and how they are using 1 Million by 1 Million. So it's not going to be our regular 5 entrepreneur pitches, but it's going to be a slightly different show. So we very much would like to have all of you come and participate in that, and see how the program is developing behind in the private part of the program, in the premium lounge. So also today, if you're live tweeting, you're very welcome to live tweet, by the way, a lot of people do. Please use the hashtag 1M1M, and the @1M1M account is going to be live tweeting on our behalf, and that's Maureen live tweeting on behalf of 1 Million by 1 Million. She's in the room. You can talk to her in public chat. So we will begin with Joel Korpi in Austin, Texas today. Rockify is the company. Joel, if you could unmute and please come and tell us what Rockify does, that would be great.
Okay, great. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. Again, as my name is Joel Korpi, and my company is called Rockify, and we're based out of Austin, Texas. We were started just over 6 months ago. I raised an initial seed round of $125,000 from a local angel investor, and we have currently built out 2 application prototypes, which I'll talk about here shortly. What Rockify does is we power cross-platform video distribution and monetization. And what that means is we help content owners who have video content. We help them connect that directly to their audience so that they can monetize it directly through mobile, TV, and web apps. So if you go to the next slide. Do I control that, by the way? Or
no, I do.
You
can just tell me when you want to move the slide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the problem that we're solving is that if you're a content owner, it's difficult to distribute and monetize your content to your audience because your audience is spread out across multiple devices. They're on mobile devices, they're on their TV, they're on their computer, their laptop, their iPad, their iPhone, and all these different devices have different codecs, different formats, specifications. Any of you who have dealt with any sort of distribution in software or any type of media have encountered this type of problem, and in video, it's by far the most complicated because you have all the different players that have different formats. So in order to reach your audience in aggregate, you have to distribute and you have to be on all of these platforms. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. So if you go to the next slide, our solution is that we offer a platform. The Rockify platform simplifies that, and we handle all of the complexity of which platform has which specification and how to get the content there, so that the content creator can do what they do best, which is create the content. They ingest it into our system, and then we handle the distribution and the creation of the device-specific apps that allow them to directly monetize the content. So what they do is they then push the content directly to the consumer or the audience, and the audience, they can choose what sort of payment method they would like to implement for that particular content, whether it's a single purchase or a subscription, or it's free and ad-supported. They can push that content directly to their app and then monetize it directly, and then we take a rev share of that. We support everything from content ingest to optimized transcoding to secure content delivery, DRM, streaming, and live streaming as well. If you go to the next slide, I'll explain kind of how this works by looking at our flagship customer, Austin City Limits. Now, Austin City Limits is the longest-running music television show in history. They've been on the air for over 37 years, and they have a huge library of content, obviously over 37 years worth, and that content's currently being digitized, and they're trying to figure out how do they monetize that. The problem is, DVD sales don't really yield very good returns as other traditional media. So in order for them to truly yield the maximum revenue out of that, they need to be able to deliver that content directly. So what we've done with Austin City Limits is we've built out iOS and Android apps that allow them to deliver content directly to their audience, their fan base, and that fan base pays a monthly subscription to get access to new content as it comes out. And that's opened up new revenue models that ACL has never been able to tap before, and the potential of using our platform to get to other devices and allow them to concentrate on just creating their content rather than having to worry about which device it needs to be on, and they let us handle that. That has been truly helpful to them. And as you can see from the small workflow diagram on the bottom, essentially the way it works is they ingest the content directly into the system, we publish it directly to the app, and then they connect it directly to the user. And if you go to the next slide, I can show you exactly how that plays out. And this is just the additional description of our platform, which shows you that this platform makes it easy to create cross-platform apps. So what that means is instead of having to worry about not only how the content gets to the device, but you also have to worry about the difference in a native application on iOS between and Android and BlackBerry and Google TV and Apple TV and all of those devices. So we handle that for you. So you design your app once, and then we handle the translation to the multiple devices.
So, Joel, let me ask a few questions here.
Sure.
When you talk about the apps, the Android apps and the iPhone apps, are those apps that are branded as Austin City Limits apps, or are these Rockify apps?
Yes, it's the former. So the whole idea is that we want, in order to capitalize on the brand, they want to have the direct relationship with their audience.
Naturally.
So the app is the Austin City Limits app, powered by Rockify. In this particular case, we do have some branding on it. It says powered by Rockify, but that's if that's not necessary. We want it to be. We want to be in the background, and we want to be the platform.
So okay, that's fine. That's the question I'm asking is what is the presence and how is this all being managed on these various different devices and platforms? So when it comes to smartphones, you're doing apps. What about Apple TV and stuff like that, Netflix perhaps?
So for currently we only distribute to devices that allow us to build native applications. So we do not support Netflix right now because Netflix is its own sandbox environment that doesn't let us create an Austin City Limits environment within it. we are, in the process of negotiating with other manufacturers such as that aren't open, such as Apple TV, although, they are in the process of moving that to iOS, so all of the native apps will work on Apple TV, so that's something that's just going to happen. But our strategy is to attack apps first because that's what gives you the control. Once you get outside of the apps, by pushing to Hulu or YouTube or Netflix, there are other companies that do that. That's why we're not doing that. You can do that through other companies, and they will help you distribute your content to all these other branded entertainment channels and help you get rev share. But the problem with that is that the rev share on these different channels is really low, and you don't get good user data, you don't get good analytics on what your audience likes, and you don't have that direct channel of communication.
Joel, then shouldn't you tear down your list of logos here on the right, which is why I got confused, right? Because you have all these different logos. You were saying you're not saying that you only work with mobile devices that have apps. That's part of your positioning, is that you're working with just mobile devices that allow you to set up native apps.
No, we're working with any. I'm sorry. Let me clarify. We're working with any platform that allows us to create an app. So all of the logos that you see on there allow us to create native apps. So let's see. We've got any web browser, we can build an app within the web browser. Any of the set-top boxes like Bhakti or Roku or Google TV, we can build apps for those as well. The places that we don't cover. Oh, and you're talking about the problem slide?
Well, I'm talking about more than that. I think part of the question is not just being able to create an app. You can't. I mean, the app needs a distribution channel. The beauty of the iPhone or the Android app ecosystems is that they all have app stores. So you can actually find a distribution through those stores and so forth. People have to have some way of finding those apps.
Correct.
The problem is not just a technical problem. The problem is also access.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And so our strategy there is that we're only going after our target customer is our content owners that have existing fan bases and existing audience that allow them to directly promote stuff to promote the release of apps directly to that audience. So we're not tackling the discovery problem.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. And your business model is that these companies that you're helping convert these apps, they are paying you a licensing fee. Is that what's going on?
Yes. So our business model is license fee plus rev share. So they pay a license fee to use our platform, and then every financial transaction that goes to our system, because we also abstract the financial transactions because they're different on each device. So we handle all the financial transactions, aggregate it, pull in all that data and all that money into a single account, and handle the rev share back to them. So we take a cut of that as well.
And is Austin City Limits your only customer right now?
Yes, they are a flagship customer. So we raised initial seed round back in early May or late April, and we've spent the last 4 or 5 months building out this prototype and are getting ready to launch it. And we're currently raising an additional seed round to support the launch of the app so that we can prove the model and get some data. And then our plan is to raise a Series A later next year once we have that data. And we do have additional customers in the pipeline, but we obviously need the funds to be able to support and build out our platform to scale.
And this the business model is validated by Austin City Limits? Yes.
They are happy with that arrangement, and from our research, which we've talked to numerous content owners, that they are comfortable with that as well. But the way we have it set up is such that we're not dependent on one or the other. So it's really a case-by-case basis. So if a particular content owner is more comfortable paying the monthly fee than the rev share, then we can adjust the ratio, if you will. So it's negotiated on a case-by-case basis. We don't have a template. This is what it has to be. And I think that gives us the most flexibility until we kind of hone in on exactly what a typical customer looks like and what the typical setup is.
Got it. Let's move on to your questions.
Okay, great. I guess my question being a first-time entrepreneur, the biggest challenges I've encountered are figuring out who to go raise money from and why, and then how to evaluate the pros and cons of a particular investor. I know I've had people that are interested in investing that seem like they're a good fit, but I just don't really I just have a bad gut feel. And I've had sort of the reverse, where I've had a good gut feel, but it just, if you look at it on paper, it doesn't look like a good fit. So I'm just curious as to your general advice on how to navigate that, because so far I've only raised from a single angel investor, and I've been interviewing others for this next round, but I want to make sure I get the right people in for this next round to sort of add to the momentum. So how would you advise?
One of the thumb rules of trying to raise money is, especially because we work largely, and you're doing the same, you're working on a fairly technical business. So we try to get money from people who can add value to that business, whether it is from connections point of view, or domain knowledge point of view, or experience of building business, or being able to help you do something that's beyond just the money. So there's a lot of quote unquote dumb money available. What you want to find is smart money. So since I don't know what the specifics of the people that you are talking to are, I think that's one filter you should put on that process, is what value are these investors going to add to your business?
Mm-hmm.
And how experienced are they? Since you're, at this point, since you're a bit further along than just a clean sheet of paper. So this is a point where I think you can actually attract somebody who's a slightly more sophisticated investor. Earlier on, when you don't have anything in place, you don't have anything done, your options are a lot more limited. But as you mature through the process of building a business and start validating some of your ideas and so forth, you develop the ability to attract more, more mature, more sophisticated investors, and that is a worthy goal to pursue, because that's where you get the, you get the value-added investors.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And how do you? What's your recommendation? My second question, and let me know when I'm running out of time. I don't want to take too much time. How do you deal with geographical restrictions? So Austin is a good, vibrant startup community, but it's relatively small. And I'm from Texas, so all of my connections are here, and I'm currently trying to build out my network into New York and Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and I'm just besides the obvious ways of networking and just in getting out there, how would you approach that? And
well, these networks are very, very. These networks are very, very tight networks. So you have to be introduced into those networks. You have to go through people who are connected into those networks. Cold networking doesn't generally work. So let me say this, why don't you hang on, let me work with the other presenters, and then when we get towards the end of the show, I'm going to talk about how we work with, how the 1 Million by 1 Million program works with entrepreneurs, and we actually take care of that problem.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, that'd be great. That's definitely
Yeah, we're
Yeah, that
very
would be great.
aware
That's
of that
nothing to
issue
do.
of people not being able to access investors, and you know, people don't. First-time entrepreneurs don't start off with a huge Rolodex of investors. This just doesn't happen. It takes years of working in the industry to develop that kind of Rolodex of investors, and where you have credibility and trust and so forth. And we have that, so that's something we cut, short circuit for a lot of our companies.
Okay, great. Well, I
Right.
appreciate it very much. And do you have any other questions about Rockify, or
No, well, I need to move on to the other presenters. So why don't you go on mute, and Marie-Janine, if you could please unmute your line and come and tell us about Home Swappers Club.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mana, for the opportunity. My name is Marie-Janine Saris, and together with Benjamin, we are the driving force behind Home Swappers Club.
Mm-hmm.
Home Swappers Club is a social network for home swappers, where people who own or rent homes and love to travel by exchanging their homes with other members can connect with like-minded people, make friends, and have successful and secure home swaps in a fun, simple, and free way. Our research showed that most of the people don't think of home swapping yet as a new alternative to travel, or if they do know, they feel insecure about who's coming into their home. And the ones that do know and want to try feel insecure to pay an annual registration fee for a service of which they are not sure whether they're going to use it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So our solution gives them free registration, education, and a network where they not only can create their profile, but also follow profiles, interact in real time, receive recommendations for smart matches, accumulate karma points through our loyalty program, and generate trust amongst each other through our paid home validation service. So our target customers are people between 24 and 44 years old who already have affinity with social networks and love to travel. And we focus mainly on the English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Mandarin-speaking markets. So, yes, the next slide, please. Yes, we sincerely believe that this way of traveling will really contribute to the major global shift from hyperconsumption to collaborative consumption. And therefore, we consider our potential market the complete travel industry, which, according to the World Tourist Organization, by 2020 will count 1.6 billion tourist arrivals. And on the other hand, the social networks and collaborative hospitality sites like Couchsurfing and Airbnb are growing exponentially. So that's the other part of our market segment. Our business model, next slide, shows a visual summary of what I've just explained. And our idea to monetize Home Swappers Club is via validation of members' homes, so that they really get their reputation up in the database and in the network.
What do you do with the, sorry, Marie-Janine, I don't think I understand what you're talking about in terms of what do you do to the members' home?
They get free registration, and then they can optionally purchase a validation certificate for their home profile. So
what
that
certificate?
it shows to the other
a validation certificate, okay. And
yeah,
what
a
does
validation certificate.
What does it take to get a validation certificate? What is happening behind the scenes in a validation certificate?
We send them like Google sends you a validation to your home address when you sign up for Google Places. The same way we will send a certificate to their home, to their actual home address that they put in the database, and we do validations through personal interviews as well.
But that's not really viable. That's not really viable if you have to go, I mean, if you're trying to do an international business, how can you go do interviews, in-home interviews with so many people? That doesn't work.
No, we're not going to their home. The idea is to do the same system that Google Google Places has. So we send a certificate to their home, and they can fill out the code. And then because it's a social network, we can do like a social, like we do now, interviews through through online. That's the idea, and that they really show around their house, that they can prove their identity and their
I see what you're saying.
validation.
I'm just not convinced that that's the kind of validation that is that people are going to pay for. Because if you're anyway, keep going. Why don't you keep going? Let's work through the business.
Okay. So further income resources will be 10% commission fees on security deposits between members.
So what is the security deposit? You haven't talked about a security deposit so far. So who pays whom a security deposit?
Both members. So upon the home exchange deal, each member will agree upon a security deposit. And in the end, the home swappers will just function as intermediary. And in the end, they will get, if the home swap deal was done set to the satisfaction of both parties, they will get refunded the deposits, and then the 10% commission will go to home swappers.
Okay, that's a good model. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No donations. Donations don't happen. Forget donations.
No?
Oh, forget donations.
They don't happen?
No.
Okay. Then premium packages for deluxe home members. So if they have like a home that is like of a certain value, that they the classical premium packages, like they only interact with people from the same level of home, etc. Do I explain myself here?
How do you determine those?
No, they purchase the premium package. So everybody who purchases a premium package.
Okay.
Yeah, what if somebody
without a deluxe home purchases a premium package? How do you do the checking and balancing on that one?
That's a good question. I'm going to be honest, we haven't really thought about that.
Okay.
So, thank you. And then for the future, this is something that we haven't developed yet, but that's in our vision, to have a mobile app for home swappers and display marketing in the group section. We have a separate group section. I will explain. So the groups are like, if in the next slide we will see how we plan to attract our members, mostly through offline and online marketing, an online and offline marketing mix, and the communities where we form part of are service clubs, corporate organizations with international leverage, and non-profit foundations. So those companies or foundations can have group sections within Home Swappers Club, and other companies, external or third parties, can display the marketing on that group section. Okay, and yeah, we have some quarterly campaigns planned.
All right, let's go to your questions. I've got the business. Let's go to your questions.
Okay.
We need to speed up.
Okay, so how can we best calculate our customer acquisition costs?
You're going to have to test. You're going to have to test.
To test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing that. I thought there was maybe another way. So
no,
then no.
There's no other way.
Okay, good. What should we improve before starting to raise money? And in which states do you recommend us to raise money, knowing that what we have done so far is with our own meanings? That's only our...
You will not be able to raise money right now. This business is not ready for raising money. You're going to have to get some validation before you can raise money.
Okay.
The
So
business,
it's
there needs to be a
preferable to do.
business before you can raise money. So you're going to have to bootstrap for much longer. Unless you can get friends and family money or your personal money to fund it. There's no professional investor. This project is not ready for professional investor money.
Okay. And what time frame do you recommend us to?
It's not a question of time frame. It's a question of milestones. You have to get to a certain critical mass of, a validation of your ideas. You have to get some, significant number of people operating in your network to be able to raise money.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. What can we improve that? So making sure that the business model is functioning and that the database is extended.
You have to get the business going. Right now it's all concepts and not a business.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Today, as far as I know, investors do not fund concepts. The market is very, very overcrowded with concepts. So concept financing does not happen unless you are you're like Mark Zuckerberg and you want to walk in and say, okay, I want to start a new company. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is perhaps too far an extreme, but if you are a very experienced entrepreneur with a lot of track record, a Jack Dorsey perhaps, who comes into an investor's office and says, I have this concept and I'm going to build this company. I'd like you to write a $2 million check. Somebody will write him a $2 million check. But for a first-time entrepreneur, that doesn't happen. You have to build on the concept and turn it into a business, do some sufficient validation before anybody is going to even think about funding it. You have a decent concept, I think. It's a good concept, but you're going to have to start building on it before you can get any money.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Ashwin, if you could unmute your line and tell us what ReshMesh is all about.
Sure, one minute.
Hello? Ashwin? Ashwin, are you there? What happened? What's going on, Ashwin? So we can't hear you at all, huh?
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Sarvana, I'm calling in from Warsaw, Poland, and I have this venture ReshMesh. This is offered by Los Angeles Salon campus. So to quickly get to what ReshMesh is about, it's an easy-to-build social website application for your social identity and professional pitch. So, pretty much there are 700 million social media users today. And at some point of time, these guys would want to upgrade to something better and more comprehensive. And, pretty much we see that, they're going to be getting into the social identity space, or, they want to build their own personal website. And something we've already seen a slight trigger with players like About Me and Flavors.me enter the space. And I think if you look at the social identity space today, it's at about 10 million users, and this user base is bound to grow by right. So that is really what we do. We have raised a small amount of seed funding, and we're into a program, seed incubation program called Rebel. And that's that. And so do you have any questions before I get to really what we're doing right now in the market entry strategy? Is there any question for me?
No, keep going. Just trying to understand your business. Keep going.
Sure. So, basically what we're saying is that, there's going to be a time where every user would want their own personal website, and we make this possible with no code, no content, and no CMS. And if we make it happen in a manner where it's going to be easier than building a social media profile, I think there's a huge opportunity there. I'd like to have a kind of just to show you demo how easy it is. If we can have a kind of volunteer for the audience to kind of get started, and you kind of pretty much get started in 30 seconds. If you'd like to check it out for yourself.
So let me comment a little bit on what I've heard so far. You are suggesting that 200 million LinkedIn users will go and build profiles on your site. Is that correct?
LinkedIn is just a market entry. LinkedIn is just a market entry strategy to start with. And once we've kind of got this LinkedIn user base and people know about us, then we open up the standalone application.
No, but stay with me for a second on LinkedIn. The reason people have LinkedIn profiles and people are willing to fill out LinkedIn profiles is because LinkedIn is a very, very powerful vertical search engine, which recruiters and human resource departments of various organizations use for hiring. So it used to be that in the past, if you're a professional, you had to go in, you had to update your resume, send updated resume to every recruiter that you work with, and keep your resume updated in their databases and so forth. Today, LinkedIn has taken that place. It's kind of a centralized resume repository where all professionals, a lot of professionals, keep their resumes and keep them updated. And LinkedIn offers that database, that vertical search engine, including the vertical search engine, to all recruiters around the world who can use this to find these people. So there's a huge incentive for professionals to create their LinkedIn profile and maintain their LinkedIn profile and keep it updated. So if you take your profile off LinkedIn, that benefit of being on the radar of the people who are looking for you goes away.
Right. So that's really interesting, Sarmana. Let me answer that question. Like an about me for the LinkedIn generation. So LinkedIn is not at this stage not really a competitor, and I'm really getting to the business model of how we compete with LinkedIn. But right now, for example, we're competing with About Me. About Me is rather tough, and it takes a lot of time to build a profile. And with ResMesh, you can kind of build a profile in about 30 seconds, which is pretty much as good as an About Me profile, right? So when we actually went to recruiters before we even started building this concept, the product, we pretty much asked them, what exactly is the pain that we can solve. And went to about 10 HR managers from our past contacts. What they pretty much said is, they have so many people actually sending in an email for a job application with either an attachment or a link to their LinkedIn profile. And what they pretty much said is, with the say for one job post they have about 100 applications, and with the amount of time, they indiscriminately delete about 50 of those applications because A, they don't prefer the resumes and the attachments itself. B, LinkedIn for them, they say, is like scam, because they want to avoid job spam. So the first thing they really look for is the pitch. Once they get the pitch right, they really, search for keywords. When they find a keyword, then they move on to your resume. And then the last thing before they actually call you in for an interview, the flow is that they really like to see a portfolio. And, for them, LinkedIn is effective to a certain extent, but it's like camp, but, in a sense, we're not competing with LinkedIn right now. Our focus is more on competing with a player like About Me and making this whole process of, getting started with About Me kind of web extremely.
And how big is About Me? How many people have created profiles on About Me?
About Me today is I think at around 2 million users, and it's an AOL property.
Okay. All right, keep going.
Okay, so and if I can, we're right now simply at the website page, and 1 second. Okay, so this is an existing profile, and like I said, it takes just about 3 seconds to kind of create. Have we spoken with the slides are kind of going off track over here, but to really get to the point, yes, we have spoken with a lot of end users and even before we started building the product, and we have pitched to over 20 mentors and industry experts, of which just about 2 responses were critical. That being like what we are doing at all. Most responses have been positive. The good thing is that T-Mobile Poland and WC.cl, which is the largest viewed portal on Poland, are interested in partnering with us and taking this to literally the next phase. And that's how it's been. So the validation or the feedback we have got so far is
I'm not convinced. I'll tell you why I'm not convinced, because what I would like to see is a focused customer research, customer validation work focused on the people who mattered the most. Are the recruiters going to move to your platform? Because I know from personal experience and from my personal network, the recruiters are using LinkedIn heavily.
Yes.
And they find it extremely effective and extremely useful. So you are coming and telling me the recruiters don't find LinkedIn useful. I just don't buy it.
So yeah, I would agree with you there, Sarmana. I don't disagree with you. I'll basically, our core business model is, if I can really put it, we're creating something like Simply Hire in reverse, which is basically a Google for recruiters, where you don't really have to take a subscription. You want to, contact 2 people, 5 people, you get a listing, right? So that's pretty much where we are heading. But we're not really coming out with that yet because we need to feed it with the database.
No, I think, Ashwin, I don't think you're hearing me. The feedback I'm giving you is that you have not done proper market validation. Okay. You have talked to a bunch of random people who, in my opinion, don't matter. You need to go talk to the recruiters. You need to go talk to 100 recruiters, and if your value proposition is that the recruiters are going to be using your system, you have to go talk to those recruiters and find out in a statistically significant way exactly what is the issue. And I have not heard anything so far which convinces me that you have a deep understanding of what the issues are.
Okay.
So that's my feedback.
Okay, that's quite valid, and we'll kind of get deep into the recruiters. But pretty much at this point, Hermana, we understand that the real value comes when we kind of build it as a tool which recruiters buy into. But I'm not in fact very question to you that should we start doing this ASAP, or should we just get people to kind of build in profiles and maybe go to the recruiters?
No, I don't believe in building anything. I don't believe in building anything without a clear and deep understanding of why you're building something. Maybe this idea, if you actually go do the proper market validation, maybe you're going to come back and think that, no, this idea doesn't have legs. I shouldn't be doing this business. I should be working on something else. Your issues, in my opinion, are that fundamental. I am not even convinced that this is the business you should be building.
All right.
So if I were you, before I spend a lot more time on this, I would do that validation exercise.
Right. So possibly, like I said, we built the product out of recruiter feedback, but we possibly go back and check on it a little more and see if we can make any improvements there.
Okay.
Okay. But and one last thing is, right now, like, we did not really want to get into this space of competing with LinkedIn, at least for now, and we were kind of keeping it more towards competing with About Me or having an alternative to that. And do you find any improvements in that, or is that something you don't find any logic to?
I'm not convinced. What is your strategy vis-a-vis About Me? So some people creating random profiles for free. To me, that's not a business.
Right. Right. I totally agree. Right.
LinkedIn is a business.
Yes,
LinkedIn has real use, and people are paying to use LinkedIn for a reason, especially the recruiters are paying to use. And since you presented this as a potential solution for recruiters, that to me is a business. But
right.
it is not clear to me that the recruiters have need for something beyond LinkedIn. And there may be, but you need to go talk to them and hear that from the horse's mouth, not make these assumptions by talking to some random people who are not your target customer.
All right. Sure.
Okay. All right. I need to move on to the next presenter. Right. Good luck, Ashwin. Roy, you're next.
Yeah, great. Thank you. You can hear me okay?
Yeah. Is it Roy or Roy?
Roy.
Roy. Okay.
Yeah, I spell it funny, but it's pronounced properly.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to give you a bit of a background, this project started, I guess, at the University of Auckland. We did entered a business plan competition in 2004. We won, second prize, got $10,000, which we leveraged to get some government funding, some dollar for dollar government funding to develop continue to develop the program and the concept, I guess. In essence, what we're developing was a youth entrepreneurship and life skills program. It was designed for teenagers, and so once we developed that, we ended up getting once we got a prototype up and had some users, we got a little bit of investment, about 150,000 or so from some pretty sophisticated investors in the country. One was the owner of the equivalent of Walmart in Australia, New Zealand. The other one is the only New Zealander to put a company on the NASDAQ, so reasonably smart money. So we ran the prototype for about 6 months, but we didn't really have a business model. What we found was that teenagers joined, they used it. We got lots of schools involved. We were in good discussions with the corporates who were going to partner with us on things, but they wanted us to get to a certain level of critical mass before they would officially put their name to it. So at the end of 6 months, we ran out of funding or of our seed money, and we decided to put the project on hold until we could come to the table with a proper business model. And as it turns out, we were intending to put it on hold for a couple of months, but it was 5 years before I've come back to it. So I'm really relaunching this initiative that started 5 years ago. So a few things have changed, but in essence, we're going down the same path, but with a different, with a business model. And I guess a lot of things have changed from a social media standpoint. In the first version, we were able to grow at about 3% per day just from our Invite a Friend program. We knew that young people, if it was a points-based system where they would, anything we wanted them to do, whether it was help us write a business plan or develop ideas or make a movie, we would give them points, and they can use their points to get phone cards and iPods and movie tickets. The other side of the program was we looked at all the ways that teenagers made money. They'd cut grass, they'd babysit, they'd wash cars. For each one of those, we'd write a little one-page business plan, one-page operations manual. They'd click a button and get their business cards printed out for that business, click another button, get their marketing flyers. They could add all their clients and transactions into an online system. So cut grass for Mrs. Smith, $15 income, $2 gas, so $13 profit. Took me 20 minutes, so $39 an hour. And then they could benchmark their grass cutting business compared to all the other kids in the country cutting grass, or compare grass cutting to babysitting to washing cars. So that's how they made real money. The other side was a points-based system. So we're continuing down that path, and we've extended it now to not just high school, but high school and university. So instead of having grass cutting babysitting concepts, it's more how to write iPhone applications, how to start a software as a service business. So it's much more of a sophisticated startup situation than what we had before. Yeah, probably next slide. So in essence, I mean, young people everywhere. Just about all young people want to make money, and they want to get stuff for free. So from a target market standpoint, it's pretty broad. But so far we haven't found a specific target market for that. Parts of the business model now involve the users engaging with local businesses to help them. Once they've developed their own entrepreneurship skills and innovation, and they've learned how to get clients, then we start applying that to local businesses as a subscription model with local businesses. And the government agencies, we see that just about every city, every government now has a huge focus on entrepreneurs. and they almost all have money to spend on developing them. So our program has a, we already proved that we get government funding in New Zealand, and the indication is it's going to be the same everywhere we go, provided we can deliver the goods. There's a lot of foundations as well that our mandate, that our program seems to appeal to.
Okay.
That's.
To me, it's all over the place, Roy. I'm sorry, but this is completely all over the place.
Yes, I'm a bit that way. Yeah. So we have a subscription fee system with the businesses with our points. So businesses buy points, and they can use the points to get users to develop ideas, do projects, engage with their brand. To give you an example, we did a project with the University of Auckland, where the university wanted to find out how to get more adults to go back to university. So we posted the question to our idea management software that we had for our group, and there was about 300 or so ideas that went through it, and each idea got voted on and given feedback by 10 to 15 people. So when the university looked at it, they thought, wow, that's 300 young people that talk to their parents about why they haven't gone back to university, what would make them go back to university, and also 10 more bits of feedback on every idea. So they looked at it and thought 5,000 people have thought about the university and going back to it from this one engagement tool. So, and the same thing for British Petroleum and HP, where we did similar ones. So there's that kind of subscription model where the businesses buy points, and the same thing for if it's a small business, a local pizza place or a printing place.
Do you have any revenues today?
No, we're just in setting up phase. So it's really just been in the last couple of in the last 3-4 months that I've been putting this program back together, sort of gathering momentum and different.
So my first feedback to you is you need to define a customer base for which you're going to do this. You're completely all over the place. This this slide that you put up here. What is your target market? It looks like everybody and their mother. And you cannot build a business like this.
Yeah.
The needs of each of these segments is completely different. And you have to decide which segment, which market are you going to go for. You cannot, as a little company, you can only serve a very small segment of customers. And if you try to, anybody who comes and says that everybody and their mother is my customer, my target market, basically that tells me that you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So if you're going to work with youth entrepreneurship, if you want to really work with teen entrepreneurship, let's say, then work on teen entrepreneurship and focus on the teen entrepreneurs and what their needs are, and this grass cutting businesses, how to build grass cutting businesses, or how to build whatever businesses for high school students, let's say. That's a segment. That's a well-defined segment. It's not a 500 million plus segment. It's probably a much more finite number of, a much smaller number of people, but it's a defined segment where you can actually potentially have a value proposition. If you're talking about business owners, their requirements are very different. It's nowhere near anything like what these teen entrepreneurs are looking for. If you're talking about government economic development programs, their needs are completely different.
Well, we see ourselves as a feeder program for local incubators and universities. You see, university incubators and business.
I mean, I can't work with your idea is so vague that it's impossible for me to get anywhere with it right now. So you need to decide on a very tight segment, exactly what you're going to offer, what is the problem you're solving, and what is the value proposition that you're offering, and to whom, and come back and present something much more concrete and pared down. This is like a kind of, you're painting the sky red kind of business idea. And this is never going to succeed. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The next presenter is Ashish Patel from Oakland.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. Style Shop 24/7. We're a social commerce platform specifically for India, where Indian consumers can interact and shop for international brands of fashion apparel and accessories. I'm the founder. I reside in Oakland, but go back and forth between India and Oakland frequently.
Okay.
Next slide, please. So basically, the platform is it's where international brands, what we call affordable luxury brands, of apparel and accessories. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello?
Go ahead. Keep going.
I'm sorry. So the Indian consumers would have access to these affordable luxury brands of apparel and accessories in India. We, part of the solution is also delivering a social experience to shopping, and we'll talk about that in the next slides. At the moment, we have a number of brand relationships in place where the brands have looked at the platform, obviously are very enthusiastic about getting into the Indian market and don't have any footprint in the Indian market. The the revenue streams are very clear. It's an e-commerce platform. Ancillary to that, there's advertising and other strategic marketing initiatives that can also be drawn from that. The team, I'm the founder. My COO is an executive with Infosys currently, and then I have a number of other team members that are part of the team.
Okay.
Slide, please. So just a snapshot of what India is at the moment. You know, people say there's 50 to 100 million internet users. Google projects it to be 100 million, projecting to be 300 million by 2014. Again, it's a large market. I mean, whatever it is, it's a large market. Consumers, newly affluent middle class. What's interesting is that the Indian consumers are among the top 3 who buy foreign brands, which was a McKinsey report earlier this year, and I think we can see that rings true. Of the retail market, the apparel and accessories market is a huge market, only second to food and beverages, as Indians like to eat. And so this is the second largest market. And and on the other platforms, whether you're booking flights or railway tickets, hotels, that market is huge and it's growing. So what the last point just shows that there are people on the internet, people comfortable with doing transactions, and I think they need something that engages them, and that's what we are aiming to provide. Next slide, please. So what we're building here is the 3 C's: content, community, and commerce. And so building of a content is something that we would push, via blog or what we call style feed, where people can get information regarding what is sort of the latest and greatest and what is in fashion, knowledge base. With video information on how to apply a certain kind of a makeup or how to do certain things. Also, what outfits kind of fit together. Things of that nature, as well as emails. We have a pretty intricate registration option where you can obviously register basic things, your address and things like that, but you can also give us certain other things. What kind of individual are you? Do you like, what kind of, are you sophisticated? Are you, what kind of fits do you like? What is your, I don't know if it's good or bad, but, what is your size? And so we can basically send customized emails, from the platform. The second aspect is building a community. And our goal is through content community to drive commerce. And part of the building community is virtual makeovers, virtual tryouts, applications that will be integrated, fully integrated into the site. Again, so integrated that once you do a virtual tryout, you can click on that and buy that product, whether it's a lipstick or whether it's a piece of clothing or shoes or whatever, through the platform.
So you are going to do
second
all those categories. You're going to do clothing. You're going to do makeup. You're going to do shoes. All of those categories.
So the virtual makeovers and tryouts are applications that are already available and something that we will license in.
No, I'm asking you from an e-commerce point of view. Are you going to be doing all of those categories?
Yes, it's a platform much like in the U.S. If you look at a company like ShopBob, which was acquired by Amazon, or Zappos, or Toby. Essentially, it's a platform where Indian consumers buy international brands of clothing, accessories, shoes, makeup. It's part and parcel of going into a sort of a virtual department.
The reason Zappos succeeded is because Zappos focused very, very, very precisely on shoes, and there are other companies that have done very well by focusing. Fig Leaves focuses on lingerie. There are other diapers.com. The diapers is, there's a very commonly understood value in e-commerce in particular. Your business is largely an e-commerce business. The content community and everything is helping you build that e-commerce business. Your primary focus is e-commerce. So you have to figure out where you want to go. Do you want to go into apparel? Because, I've been in this business. So this is a business that is quite complex. The supply chain of that business is quite complex. And how you present those items on the website is quite complex. And the personalization is extremely complex. So if you try to do hundreds of categories, you're not going to succeed.
Right. I mean, yes, point well taken. We initially at the moment have focused on sort of all sorts of accessories. Yes, I mean, I think, but when you projecting out, 2-3 years later, I think one platform that enables, sort of a virtual department stores, and a company like ShopBob, which was acquired by Amazon, is just another example. And there's, in the U.S. we have a number of online shopping platforms, sites where you can shop for all sorts of things. So, but yes, point is well taken. And we're sort of, you
have to start somewhere. Every departmental store, if you look at where they started, they all started with one thing and then expanded. Designers, the same thing. They all start with one type of merchandise and then one category and then broaden into other categories. The advantage of doing accessories is that there is no issue of size. So when you, from a merchandising perspective, accessories are one of the easiest categories to do. Apparel and footwear are much more complicated because of the size perspective and fit perspective.
Great. I agree with you, and that was one of the things that I just did when I was at a trade show in Las Vegas, one of the larger trade shows in the U.S., where we spoke specifically to the accessories brands and have their buy-in as well as their product information.
So do you have anybody with any kind of fashion merchandising experience on your team?
I have one fashion buyer who's in New York. I myself, through various ways, am somebody who, because I understand the Indian market and is, I think what we've picked so far have been validated through people that I know in India as to that would appeal to the target market there. So in a nutshell, I mean, not somebody with 10-15 years of experience as a buyer, but
you should try to get a fashion buyer, somebody who understands fashion merchandising. I'm not convinced that you are that person.
All right.
Because it's a very specialized discipline. Fashion buying, fashion merchandising is a very specialized discipline.
Got it. All right. Then basically just a slide, that everything that we do on the platform leads to enabling a consumer to buy through the platform. So in competition, there's a couple of players. Sorry, next slide. In India, there's a company called YAB, which is also called Big Shoe Bazaar, and Be Stylish. Our understanding is that they, again, they're focused on shoes, but they're buying directly from the local wholesalers. They haven't approached any brands in the U.S. or overseas, and I'm not really sure why that is. And you can see that a product is pretty limited. When you go to
but
pick
your
a size,
your product and size selection will also be limited because every startup has a limited budget to buy. You're not going to have an unlimited selection.
Right. Well, yes, I understand. And then you have international platforms that are, but again, the challenge there is that the consumer winds up paying for all of the cost, shipping cost, delivery cost, and you need a international credit card to process the order. And it's not very clear as to what happens with the returns and replacements and such as well. So
you want to set this up as an Indian company where people can pay, Indian consumers can pay with Indian credit cards. It's like Flipkart basically for fashion.
Yes, it's like Flipkart. Style Shop 24/7, which is a service of Envogue Retail Solutions, is a private limited company in India. We were just incorporated about a couple of months ago, so it is an Indian company. It's somewhat like Flipkart, but specifically for the apparel and accessories segment.
So you're doing the Flipkart of fashion for India.
Yes.
Okay.
Next slide. So again, just really briefly, the target consumer we talked about is already on the web, has a high disposable income, is fashion conscious. Hello? Sorry, yeah. And then the fashion brands we're targeting, I've spoken to, are affordable luxury, where they're not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the Indian consumer, would be.
So give me the price point of what you're looking for. Give me some examples of brands that you're thinking about.
My wholesale price point is around $30 to $50. Usually, in the retail, in the apparel and accessories, is 2.5 times the wholesale cost. And the brands we've spoken to are very edgy, really creative brands like Nuka and Nuka watches. We've also spoken, and again, we have the product information. There's a line called Dosh, DOSH, which is an Australian company. They do wallets and bills.
But these brands have no recognition in India.
Right, and that's the thing, is that it's called affordable luxury brands. They have no recognition.
So it may be called whatever, but I've been in this business. You cannot sell something to an internet consumer who is not aware of the brand. This is not going to work.
Okay.
That strategy is absolutely not going to work.
Okay.
The only point at which a consumer will buy something on the internet is either if it is cheap, or if they're paying a brand premium, they need to know the brand. You can sell LVMH on the internet. You can sell Ralph Lauren on the internet. You can sell Donna Karan on the internet to Indian consumers because they know those brands. They're not going to buy unknown brands at those prices in India. Definitely not.
A couple of things. Just a note is that when you look at fashion magazines, in India Glamour or in Style, as well as online, they talk about these brands and.
That's a good point. So one of the things that you're going to have to, one filter that you're going to have to put on this business is that brands that are marketing in India are the only brands that you should put on your site.
Okay.
Because somebody else needs to do the brand marketing. The Indian consumer needs to be exposed to these brands by the brands themselves. You can't take on the brand marketing exercise.
It's true, true. What happens is that the editors, the writers in these magazines, talk about the entire outfit, and so part of the outfit is, whether it's the shoes, belts, watches, and things like that, and these brands are mentioned in these magazines as well as online.
All right. I don't have a lot more time to work with you, so let's take a quick rain check on where you are with this business. So have you started the site? Is it in operation in India?
No, so far I've self-funded it. The back end is done. The front end is the user interface is just being done, and we're looking for seed capital to kind of to take it to the next level in terms of inventory and setup in India. A lot of the groundwork,
You're looking for seed capital of $4 million with nothing in place.
I'm sorry. That's I apologize. That's just something that was put in. Again, that's the ultimate goal. Anyway, yeah, it's not. That's not all I'm looking for. $4 million. So.
You have to take it to some level. You can get seed capital of a seed level. You fee $4 million is not seed capital, so you have to.
It was just like I said, it was a mistake that was put in.
So how much do you need to prove the concept?
We're looking at somewhere between $250,000 to $300,000.
Okay. So what are your questions here?
Oh, just again, trying to now we're sort of at a stage where trying to get introductions to people as investors. I did a round early on in end of May, early June, and spoke to a number of VCs in India, and they truly were interested in the space, but again, they wanted to see some traction.
Yeah.
And so
that's pretty much the lay of the land these days. You can't raise money on a concept. You have to prove that you have a business and you have some traction going. There's no other way to raise money. If you hang on for a second, your questions about introductions and stuff, I'll answer that in a moment. In a collective way, a lot of people I know are looking for introductions. I will give you a full overview of how the 1 million by 1 million program works with entrepreneurs. So hang on for a second. Let me walk you through that. Before we go there, though, there is a Facebook poll on our 1M by1M page. That's www.facebook.com/1M by1M. And you've listened to 5 pitches today, and you're very welcome to go there and vote for your favorite company. And those of you who have pitched, you are welcome to get your friends to vote for you so that you can win the contest. And the presentations, by the way, are going to be available when we publish the recording shortly after the show is over. So I'm going to walk you through all the resources that we offer you through 1M by 1M, and also give you an overview of how we work with entrepreneurs to help them get to the next level. So as you know, our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond. The first level of resources that we offer you is the stromanamitra.com blog. And there's a ton of free content there, and including lots of case studies. And you can use all that to learn your business. And the next level of that is the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, where you find some more synthesis of those lessons effectively. So we have 4 volumes of Entrepreneur Journeys, and those are, the first volume is a series of a dozen case studies that includes role models, their strategies, how did they make their businesses successful. It follows, the entire series actually follows the same format of case studies and synthesis and analysis. The second volume is Bootstrapping, Weapon of Mass Reconstruction. The third volume is Positioning, How to Test, Validate, and Bring Your Idea to Market. And the fourth volume is Innovation, Need of the Hour. Now, bootstrapping and positioning are two cornerstone philosophies of the 1Mby1M program. You know, I was talking to Roy Patterson earlier, and I basically told him that he is painting the sky red. What does that mean? That means that his business is not positioned. You have to position your business. To get anywhere with a startup, you have to position your business. And our philosophy is do not spray and pray. You need to come up with a laser sharp positioning so that you can utilize your scarce resources, which will, in an early stage company, it will always be scarce. Resources will always be scarce. So how do you apply those resources, and what you do in what order? Positioning helps you determine that. And we also emphasize very heavily on bootstrapping because, as it came up several times in today's discussion, many of you are thinking of raising money. Well, there are prerequisites to raising money, and you have to bootstrap yourself to that point where you can become ready for financing. So bootstrapping and positioning are two core disciplines that you have to master. As I said, the blog is at sramanamitra.com. These roundtables that you participated in today happen every week. Next week, however, as I said in the beginning of the show, we have a slightly different format. That's our 100th roundtable. But in general, we have these sessions every Thursday where you can come and dialogue about your business with me. And we've had over, this is now a 100 roundtable coming up. We've also had lots of private roundtables. So we have done over 100 such roundtables. Over 7,000 people have attended, and I have personally coached over 400 entrepreneurs. We have a lot of experience with, I look at a business in 3 minutes. I can gauge exactly what kinds of mistakes you are about to make because I've seen these patterns over and over and over again. And based on that, we have come up with, content, curriculum content, which we teach you and help you mitigate those mistakes. We don't want you to repeat these mistakes. We don't want you to make these mistakes and join the pool of infant entrepreneur mortality that happens all over the world. In America alone, 600,000 companies go out of business every year. Around the world, this number is much higher. And we just don't want you to join that pool by making some common mistake that everybody else is making as well. There's no need to do that. We know better. Today, we know better. Now, in the premium program, other than these roundtables, everything else we do in 1Mby1M is part of the premium program. And that premium program offers extensive methodology guidance. We have a curriculum with video lectures and case studies. We do extensive business development where we introduce our members to customers, channel partners, industry leaders who may be able to become advisory board members, whatever makes sense, whatever dots make sense to connect for your business development efforts, we help you do that to the extent that's possible within our network. And people are seeing incredible, incredible levels of connections through this network. We have members who are meeting the CIO of VMware or the CIO of Intel. These kinds of people are very, very hard to reach. And the level of introductions you get to VCs, the kind of credibility and the kind of references with which you go into a VC. You were asking earlier, I think it was, Joel, who was asking about how to get introduced to VCs and angel investors. Well, we have that deep relationship built over 15, 16 years, and you can basically walk into that network and get access to a set of investors very quickly and very efficiently by going through 1Mby1M, and the 1Mby1M brand comes with a certain level of credibility. Then we have private versions of these roundtables. So the primary strategy consulting work like this that we do happens for our premium members happens behind the private lounge. We have a very similar format, but it's a members-only session where we do not allow outsiders to participate. And as I said, we help a lot with financing. Next week, when we do the 100th roundtable, you'll see some of our members talking about how we got them ready for financing, how we got them introduced to investors, generated multiple term sheet, and helped them negotiate those term sheets, so on and so forth, all financing related details. And then we also have a very deep experience and presence in the media, both our own presence in the media, our blog, our syndicated columns, and so forth. Plus, we also have credibility with other analysts, media people who follow what we do and whom we feature, how we feature. We have great presence in social media. We run a very high bandwidth channel, Twitter channel, which flows into Facebook and LinkedIn. So many of you actually experience us and get to know us through those channels. And we make those channels available to our premium members as well. So all this is an unlimited usage invitation to all of you for a $1,000 annual membership fee. It's an incredible value. There's nothing like it out there, actually. This much value at this price point, there's nothing like this out there. It's like a mini MBA focused on entrepreneurship for a $1,000 annual membership fee and an extensive business network, credible, powerful business network. This is what the site looks like, 1Mby1M, 1M1M.romanamitra.com. I encourage you strongly to take the 1M1M self-assessment. It's a 9-point questionnaire, and then we provide you with curriculum modules to address where you think you have gaps. The right navigation bar gives you access to curriculum, the free public roundtables, self-assessment, and so forth, private roundtables. The premium so the site is 1M1M.romanamitra.com. The premium program button at the top right corner of your screen and the FAQ button also at that top right corner give you explanations of what you can expect from these from the premium program, more detailed explanation. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. So you cannot, today's market, nowhere in the world would support a first-time entrepreneur walking into an investor's office and asking to raise $4 or $5 million. It just doesn't happen that way. So you're going to have to follow a lean, capital efficient, bootstrap methodology to get to a certain point before you can raise money. So we don't discourage you to raise money. However, we know what happens in the business, so we don't want you to get rejected by investors. 99% of entrepreneurs who go out to raise money get rejected. And we know why they get rejected. There's a set of reasons why they get rejected. So you have to kind of work around those reasons and make yourself for quote unquote fundable. So you have to assess your fundability. We can help you assess your fundability, and we have to get you ready to get funded. The curriculum covers 7 core modules that include bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. And then we have a bunch of elective modules that includes Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education. All these are aligned with the trends of our industry. So we work primarily with technology businesses, internet businesses, technology-enabled services, outsourcing, those kinds of businesses. We don't really work very much with highly capital-intensive businesses or even businesses like laundromats or restaurants. That's not our sweet spot. At this point, our sweet spot is really in the world of tech and online businesses and outsourcing businesses. Now, our curriculum is designed as a module, as a set of video lectures and case studies. We have hundreds of successful entrepreneurs who have sat down with us and told us how they have succeeded. What are the secrets? What are their strategies? What have they learned? What have worked for them? What have not worked? And the entire curriculum is based on that body of case studies. So I have synthesized these best practices in video lectures, but all the case studies are available to you along with those synthesis lectures. The video lectures are mine, but you should think about the 1 million by 1 million curriculum as if these 400 or 500 entrepreneurs are actually teaching you this curriculum, because we really have invested in building something that is very deep and very, very comprehensive as far as entrepreneurship education is concerned. And you really can learn from other people's experiences. Entrepreneurship is very largely an experiential discipline. So the best way to learn is from case studies, and we have brought together these case studies for you. Now, as I told you, we do a lot of business development. This is a pilot we are running with 2 1 million by 1 million companies and one of our channel partners called Persistent Systems. That is a 100 million plus company that has a large presence in the enterprise market in the United States. And they have 30 to 50 major account salespeople. So our 2 companies, Ornscape and Crowd Engineering, are going to market through their channel. So they don't have to build a North America channel. The Persistent sales force is selling their products. And these are, I cannot tell you how valuable these kinds of channel partnerships are. And our game plan is to get more and more of these kinds of people, in the system. So that's pretty much what we are working on, and you get access to a very large amount of resources through the 1 million by 1 million program at a very affordable price. Reminder, we have our 100th Roundtable on October 6th, 2011. That's next week, next Thursday, same time, same place. And all through October, otherwise, we have the regular, these kinds of roundtables where you can come and discuss your business with me. And I'll be very happy to give you my feedback. Now, Vision India 2020 is one of my books that I haven't talked about so far. This is a book about business opportunities that somehow leverage India, whether India as a market or India as a production backend. This is a very interesting book. If you're looking for an idea to work on, this is a book that makes a lot of ideas freely available, and you're very welcome to work on them. We do have a module in 1 million by 1 million that focuses on the Vision India ideas. These are our partners. We have a lot of partners who make the 1 million by 1 million program successful, and that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. We have an affiliate program. If you're an organization, entrepreneurship development organization, and you want to monetize your audience by becoming an affiliate of the 1 million by 1 million program, we pay 10% affiliate commission. You're welcome to take advantage of that program. That's pretty much it. VView is our technology partner. We thank VView for participating and hosting these roundtables with us for a long time. That's all. Unfortunately, I can take one question, but that's about it. I don't have a lot of time to take questions today. We have exactly 3 more minutes. So if you have any question, I can take one quick question, 1 or 2 quick questions. But we had 5 presenters today, so it was a lot of presentation work so far. Anybody? Any questions? Otherwise, we're going to close up the room and get on with our day's work. And say goodnight to some people in parts of the world who are ready to end your day. Okay, looks like there are no questions. Bye-bye, everybody. Good luck with your businesses, and we'll talk to you on a